This film became one of Singapore's most talked about movies this week, not because of its budget, its stars, or even its storyline. It became a talking point because of its language. The independent film Dear You was originally produced mainly in Teochew, yet for commercial cinema screenings in Singapore, audiences will mostly be watching a Mandarin dubbed version instead. That decision has now reopened a much bigger conversation about language, culture, and identity in Singapore. What makes this story interesting is that the debate is no longer just about one movie. It is about whether Chinese dialects still have a meaningful place in modern Singapore. Here are the facts. Dear You follows a man who travels to Thailand in search of his estranged grandfather, only to uncover a long-hidden family secret. The film was produced primarily in Teochew and has become an unexpected success with audiences. According to reports, all 4,800 tickets for Teochew version screenings were sold out within just 2 hours after sales opened. That strong demand surprised many observers. Yet, despite the interest, the Infocom Media Development Authority, or IMDA, said the Mandarin dub version would be screened commercially. The original Teochew version will remain available at the premiere and selected festival or niche screenings. IMDA explained that this approach supports Singapore's bilingual policy, which promotes Mandarin as the main language among Chinese Singaporeans. On the surface, that may sound like a straightforward policy decision, but the public reaction suggests something deeper is happening. Many Singaporeans who commented online were not simply discussing subtitles or dubbing. They were talking about heritage. Some viewers argued that certain emotions, expressions, and cultural nuances are difficult to translate from Teochew into Mandarin. Others felt that hearing the original dialect made the story feel more authentic. And that is where the discussion moves beyond cinema. Workers' Party MP Dennis Tan recently joined the conversation. In a Facebook post, the Hokkien MP said the response to Dear You highlighted an important issue about preserving dialect heritage. He shared that many residents in his constituency still communicate daily in Teochew or Hokkien. In some cases, Meet the People sessions are conducted entirely in dialect because that is the language residents are most comfortable using. Dennis Tan also pointed out that dialects are closely linked to traditions, customs, food culture, and the lived experiences of earlier generations who built their lives in Singapore. His argument is not simply about language. It is about preserving cultural memory. He noted that he had previously spoken in Parliament about supporting dialect learning and promoting more dialect content on television and radio. His concern is that cultural transmission becomes harder with every generation that grows up without exposure to these dialects. Once those connections disappear, rebuilding them may become impossible. Here is where the broader context matters. Singapore's language policies did not appear overnight. In 1979, then Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew launched the Speak Mandarin campaign. At the time, Chinese Singaporeans spoke many different dialects, including Hokkien, Teochew, Cantonese, Hakka, and others. The government believed that promoting a common language would strengthen communication within the Chinese community and support bilingual education. From a policy perspective, the campaign achieved remarkable results. Today, Mandarin is widely spoken among Chinese Singaporeans. Communication barriers between dialect groups have largely disappeared. Many younger Singaporeans can converse fluently in Mandarin even if they cannot speak their family dialect. But every policy creates trade-offs. The success of Mandarin also coincided with a decline in dialect usage. Many younger Singaporeans can understand only fragments of the dialects spoken by their grandparents. Some cannot understand them at all. That creates a difficult question. Can a society preserve cultural heritage while maintaining a common language policy? This may not be an either-or situation. Promoting Mandarin does not necessarily require dialects to disappear. Likewise, supporting dialect preservation does not automatically undermine bilingual education. In fact, many countries successfully preserve regional languages and dialects while maintaining a national language. The challenge is finding the balance. What makes Dear You significant is that it provides a rare market test. Instead of relying on surveys or political arguments, there is now visible evidence that some audiences actively want content in original dialect form. The rapid sellout of Teochew screenings suggests demand exists. Whether that demand is large enough to sustain wider commercial screenings remains an open question, but it is clearly large enough to restart a national conversation. Former presidential candidate Tan Kin Lien also weighed in, pointing to the strong ticket sales as evidence of public interest. He expressed hope that more Teochew screenings could be offered and questioned whether existing restrictions may be limiting broader access. Regardless of where people stand on the issue, the discussion reveals something important. Language is not only a communication tool, it is also a carrier of identity. When people debate dialects, they are often discussing family history, community roots, and cultural belonging. That is why this conversation has generated such strong reactions. The issue may not be the movie itself. The issue may be what the movie reminds people they could lose. And perhaps that is why a relatively small independent film has sparked a debate far larger than anyone expected. So what do you think? Should Singapore do more to promote and preserve Chinese dialects? Or should the focus remain on strengthening Mandarin as the common language among Chinese Singaporeans? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis, like, share, and subscribe to 2230 for more Singapore news and deeper conversations behind the headlines.